Oh.
You guys look like
Alright, you're gonna
FBI
stand there,
informers.
Really with this? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, here we come with the lights. We're ready to start. Hi,
Oh, is that?
okay.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's talk about San Francisco for a little while. When did you guys move to San Francisco?
Well, we moved to San Francisco from Arizona in 1969, and I was going to the Art Institute, San Francisco Art Institute, and Michael and the rest of the boys in the Tubes came along with me
For the ride.
for the ride, and
Never left.
we never left. 1969.
Were the Tubes already formed by that time, or did it start here?
It started here. It's a convergence of two bands. And at first it was two separate bands. One was kind of a art band, and the other one was a blues band, I'd say. I'd describe them. And then they merged.
What was the musical scene like here in 1969?
We thought it was quite disillusioning. As I recall, we came up expecting all the myth and drama of San Francisco we'd grown up hearing about. And we didn't see very many, interesting groups, so we had to become the most interesting group we knew.
It was the end of pretty much the end of the psychedelic era. I mean, the Family Dog and the Fillmore. We caught the tail end of that.
In your estimation, what was that next era of San Francisco bands?
The next, what do you mean, the ones that came after us?
Yeah, after the end of the psychedelic era.
Glitter rock.
Yeah, because all the glam rock kind of. I mean, it wasn't coming from here necessarily. I mean, us and others were busy parodying it, before it even got popular. But I don't know what happened to music then. It kind of got serious, fusion style came in, as I recall, and then the sort of ultra heavy metal style. And we were right in there slagging them all the whole time.
What?
Let's pause for just a second.
Yeah.
We lost video on the screen. Okay, speed.
Hurry. Why in '69? Why San Francisco? Why not another art institute somewhere else?
Well, I was always fascinated with, love, and that was the place to go. We came from Arizona, where there was love there, but
There wasn't finger painting.
there wasn't finger painting.
The Art Institute is well known for finger painting, right, world famous, in fact. I think we went there because it was the only place we'd give Prairie a scholarship, really. That's the truth.
Well, you don't have to say that. I was always fascinated with the beauty of San Francisco. I had visited here my whole life, summers and stuff.
What were some? You spoke a few minutes ago about the musical myths that you had heard of. What were some of them? What were the?
Oh, the big shows. We came expecting to see these big multimedia extravaganzas. What was billed as the early, light shows and that sort of thing, and it just wasn't there.
Water.
Yeah, you got a bunch of blobs like this thing, and it really was not very interesting. We were already doing better at home, and this happens a lot in the provinces. People hear the myth of New York, Los Angeles, or something, and maybe they come up with something better. So we just came up with something better, and when we brought it up here, it was easy to go into utter excess because there was a wonderful, huge audience for any damn thing you could think of. That was
to say we weren't influenced by a lot,
Yeah, we were plenty influenced, but it's just that there was nothing here to excite us. We had to kind of invent it. At least that's my opinion.
What were some of your musical influences?
Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah, probably.
the New York Dolls. Let's see.
We used to. Alice Cooper was probably an influence. They came from the same town as us, and they put on quite a show, and that became one of our interests. A group called the Coquettes that used to be around here was the first drag queens to go around in beards and mustaches and send up the whole idea of transvestite cross-dressing, and they put on incredible shows. I think didn't you play a few of them? Some of band members.
Boy George was there.
Yeah, it was like Boy George's grandparents. These people. It was a huge group of people that went around the streets dressed in glitter and tinsel and all that stuff, and they were very influential around town. The bondage scene was big, very big.
Very big.
When I think we stumbled upon Polk Street on Halloween Eve. And saw for the first time people dressed up in these crazy, obsessive outfits, and it was such a revelation. You know, it's a bit of a shock. So we immediately made our own costumes out of plastic and Naugahyde instead of leather. Put it in our show.
Now it's traditional. I mean, every rock band in the world wears bondage now.
Yeah,
Love you, Motley Crue.
You are so beautiful.
So that has to be something you couldn't have gotten in Arizona, this sort of Polk Street,
No, none of that.
sort of all that experience.
No.
Big Western influence there.
Yeah.
A lot of bridles.
Yeah, the country thing was big. Yeah, we were some of the guys were in sort of spin-off country bands and played country style bars and stuff. So that was another early influence.
When you first got here in '69 and first started getting into music in San Francisco, was there much of a club scene for musicians at that time, a bar scene?
Well, I just remember one in particular was in North Beach. There was a club that was the only place where people really wildly dressed up and stuff could hang out. It's called North Beach Revival. It was the era of the tequila sunrise and the shoes that high. And
Platforms.
it brought everybody together, though. That was a real influential place. And we used to play there. It was the only audience that would come see us, you know. They'd look at anything, and we had guys in the funny shoes and the TV parodies, and we'd play TV themes like I Love Lucy, and, you know. It was a place that was not like a traditional musical jam type of club. It wasn't like a blues club or a folk club. It was more of a disco, really, like a rock disco, early rock disco. So in between the music, when people wanted to dance, in between the records, you had to put on something really great, because otherwise they'd throw things.
Do you think that if the same group of people that is in the Tubes had lived in a different city, it would have all happened?
No, I don't think so, because it wouldn't have been the audience. Maybe in New York, but I don't think it would have happened in Los Angeles.
Definitely not in Cleveland.
And not Phoenix. Although other things came from those areas of, you know, of interest. There was something about being here that you could try anything. You know, I would say in New York or LA, your influence might be to try to do a better, more popular sounding record and get attention that way. In New York, you might be trying to do a better, more popular theater or something. You know, but here you had both. You really didn't care about being big in theater or rock music or anything. We just wanted to put on shows, and we wouldn't have done songs like we did. We wouldn't have written White Punks on Dope if we were thinking at the time of selling 1 million records. Of course, it didn't sell 1 million records. I mean, it didn't have a hope of it. It never will. But the fact is, it became the theme for our entire career of doing craziness, you know. So that could only happen here.
With the both of you, the art came first before the music?
No, I think with me it came first. I think Prairie was playing first. Time out.
Time out.
Should I grab it or
Yeah.
just ignore it? What do I do?
Yeah, let's please do. It's nice.
Just have our cutaways.
The pants?
No, we're doing
Oh.
the television screen, sorry.
Okay.
Come back in and we'll...
Drop first.
Okay,
Clutching on my notebook for dear life.
we're set up.
You get a close-up on Mike's hand.
Yeah.
He's still an artist.
We're set up again?
Are we set? Let's see, the question was, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
With the both of you, which came first, art or music?
I think Prairie was playing drums before he was playing paintbrushes, but
I was playing drums before I could walk.
yeah.
And they weren't drums, they were just anything that would make noise. And then I would paint it.
Have either one of you ever been involved with other bands, or was the Tubes the first for both of you?
It was the first for me. Prairie was in a couple of bands, but they all evolved into the Tubes. I think it was the same guys he played with ended up in the Tubes. See, it's just a hobby for me, you understand. I didn't really mean to be on the stage. They tricked me. I used to have to hide behind the amplifiers because synthesizers weren't too popular in the early days, and I would be the target of all the rotten plums and eggs and tomatoes. So I developed a habit of facing my back to the audience, and only recently have I turned around.
But he is the original art
Art
synthesizer player. He is.
It's sort of a strange category, but I'll ask anyway. Can the Tubes be described as art rock? Is it art rock? What is
Sure.
art rock?
I don't know. I don't know what it is either, but it can be that and any other thing you can think of too. I'm proud to say if it's art rock because if it's artistic and it's rock and roll, that's usually contradiction in terms, and most rock and roll music isn't very what you'd call tasteful or well
be rock
thought out.
art.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
And then we can leave it at that.
And then we'll just drop that.
I think I'm going to call it label rock from now on. If you
Label
need something,
rock.
we'll just call it label.
In the case of the Tubes, is there any way that the music could be separated from the art, or is it just also interwoven?
It works both ways. Sometimes I'm sure our audience would agree, it's a little pretentious. It's sort of tacked on, like you have a show number where you're performing a popular song, and then it's obviously being interpreted in a visual way. But the best times, when it works the best, is when it's inseparable. And there are a few times like that. There's a song called Sports Fans that our audiences will know, where the costuming and the dancing and the acting and the comedy and the music are so interwoven. It's not a very interesting song by itself, and it's a corny vaudeville number if you just looked at the picture. But putting it together, it's one of our best pieces. It's not on a record, and to me, that's a neat thing, to be able to have something that doesn't have to have that commercial, that crass commercial thing. It's, it's good if it's commercial, but it's also good if it exists only in front of a live audience. That's my favorite thing to do. It's a live show.
Were you first accepted here? Was San Francisco your first acceptance?
Not really, because we used to go back to Arizona, like at holidays and stuff, where there was a following for the band, to play New Year's Eve shows and whatnot, to make enough rent money to come back to San Francisco, because we were playing high school dances and things like that, few and far between.
Catholic girls' schools.
Yeah, and audition nights, for Bill Graham clubs and Winterland and all that, and that was, I think you got all the beer.
Go
you
back
could
to the
drink.
hometown to get an ego boost, and then come back.
Because you were the triumphant
struggle.
San Francisco heroes or something.
And how's the audience acceptance here now?
Oh, we got a real great audience here, and it's, you go up and down in popularity in your career, and in a lot of big metropolitan centers, you might be passé one year, and then you keep coming back, and then they come around to you. But there's always a big audience for us here. I don't think it would ever stop. This is really a home base. There's no question about it.
Is there much of a musical community here now? I mean, do you guys have interaction with other musicians, either from your era or the people from the 60s, or?
I don't know any myself. I don't know any musicians. I'm not lying. I don't. I know the guys in my band. Do you know anybody who plays?
Yeah, I interact every now and then. I enjoy the music scene a lot. I try to get out and see a lot of the, lesser known acts that have.
And then you come to my house and tell me about it.
Yeah, come and tell them like that.
Describe the act to me.
And then we hobnob with some of the bigger stars, on MTV cruises on the Bay. And that was fun.
I hear a lot of people got very seasick.
Yeah, don't lie, Prey. You jumped ship.
I jumped ship, I have to admit.
It stopped at Sausalito and they died after they went.
But it was fun. It was a good event.
Where do you guys record? Do you record in San Francisco?
We are this time. We're actually starting tomorrow at Fantasy in Berkeley. Normally we get cajoled into going to Los Angeles, where we're fleeced royally by the record industry down there. Love you guys. It's terrific. And we're not going to do that this time. We're going to work up here.
And our goal is to get our own recording studio in our own warehouse.
Yeah, which we will have it next week, and we're so damn proud of ourselves because we worked for years to do this.
Now, I understood that you already have a warehouse. Am I mistaken?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
We don't have the recording facilities yet.
But is that happening soon?
Next week.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, we're all excited.
Just too late for this album. Next album.
Well, it's for our solo albums, you see.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing solo albums. You haven't heard? Oh. The entire band is doing solo albums. They're all going to come out simultaneously on Capitol Records. And I think probably Prairies and Mud will probably have the best album cover art, and and the tour to follow with our pickup band will be pretty good as well. So be sure to be looking for that.
It's called, what, should we tell them?
Go ahead.
It's called You.
You,
Because
a group,
you
are
a
so
group.
beautiful. But we kill ourselves.
I think you guys are joshing.
No, we're not, honest.
Oh, everybody's
We're not.
serious all about
Mhm.
seriously?
I don't know if Capitol Records would agree, but everybody is. Everybody this year finally, Prairie and I have been doing it for years, recording
We've
on
been
our
doing
own.
solo albums for years.
No, I mean recording the material. And finally all the other guys did too, and the entire band has got, master material that they just did with, say, 2 or 3 guys in the band or other musicians. And that's where the influences come in real strong, because there's so many people in this area that are, I mean, we feel really lucky. They just can't get in a band or get a record deal to save their life, There's a lot of talent goes wasted because of the economy or fashion, or because the guy's too fat or too skinny or whatever, doesn't have his right haircut that week, or he doesn't play synthesizer. That's a damn shame. You can't get a deal anymore. and so those are people we work with sometimes, and that's real good because they're hungry.
So let's talk about the art for a little while.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now you two on art projects always work together? Sometimes work together? Never work together? Have never met one another?
Yeah, both. We do everything. We do it all. It's a lot, kind of like having a right hand and a left hand. I can draw straight lines better than him, and he can make funny expressions better than I can, things like that. So it really works together because there's 2 kinds of styles involved. And also one guy can stand in the back and kind of, make
Yeah, like
comments.
this, like a dog.
And look at the other guy while he's working. Because many of the murals and big projects we do are tremendous scale, and you can't see when you're up close what you're painting, because they're up to hundreds of feet long. So it's like being a billboard painter. You're right up next to the wall, and you have to have someone in the distance telling you a little more to the right. We've done that with the walkie-talkies on occasion too, where you tell the other guy a little more blue or something.
How many art projects do you do a year?
Too few. It's a shame. It's that damned hobby getting in the way again. We get
hope
busy.
to, just cut music out altogether someday and go to Florence and become serious ceiling muralists
Yeah, that's actually pretty close to the truth.
with Walkmans.
It's because of the scale of the work, it takes a while to do them, and so we only usually manage 1 a year, 1 or 2 big scale projects. Lots of little things, all of our stuff, as you know, the tubes imagery. And this year we're getting more involved in computer graphics, which allows us to do more projects in a year, because it's not paint and scaffolds, it's portable and just a TV set and a keyboard.
Something you can do on the bus
Yeah.
while you're touring.
Yeah. Hold everything.
Let's stop. and
She got
change
enough.
tape.
She got enough.
We have-
She's sick of it already.